Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. Now that we're in August, it's time to get the fall garden started. First thing I want to go over is planting carrots. So for me, carrots are something I use for cooking in the fall as we start turning our meals to soups and stews. So growing carrots in the spot where the peas were at is one of those things I'm doing. So I'm not going to show the actual process I used for planting the seeds. I just created some furrows, dropped seeds in there, watered them, but then I covered them with these boards. And I do that to help retain moisture in the soil so that they germinate, because carrots are very slow to germinate. So I should be able to take these out, and I can check the soil where I planted the seeds to see if there are any seedlings coming up yet. I would not really expect them to be up just yet, but yeah, I can see a couple that are starting to come in there. I'll take you over to another bed where I started those about 10 days ago, and those are a little further along. Now that the seedlings are growing, I'm going to take the boards off, just keep the bed moist, and let these seeds take off. Here's a shot of the bed I started about 10 days ago. So you can see the seedlings are coming up, and I'll have to do maybe a little bit of thinning in some spots, but not too much, because on this one I tried to keep the spacing better so that I wouldn't have to thin. On the other bed I did go a little thicker, so those I will have to thin. In this spot here I got another planting of green beans. Our green beans aren't necessarily a fall planting. There's enough time left in my growing season where I can get these beans going, get them producing, get some harvest before the frost takes them out. My frost date here, my first frost date, is beginning of October, and we're a little over 60 days out from when I first put these seeds in the ground. Speaking of green beans, this is my first succession of green beans for this year, which was planted in mid-May. And while these plants are still producing, their production has slowed down. I've gotten a good harvest off of this season. But as I prepare for fall, I'm going to come through, harvest whatever green beans are left on here, cut the plants out, and do another succession of Oregon sugar pod peas. Now these lettuces are starting to bolt, but I have enough time where I can cut these lettuces out and put one more succession of lettuce in the spot before the cold really sets in. These are my sweet peppers. As we head in the fall, these sweet peppers will get killed off by the frost. But what I'll be able to do is take these plants out once that happens and put lettuce in this location. And then these hoops I cover with plastic to form a hinged double hoop house. And that allows me to continue growing right up until about Christmas time. This is the potato bed. These potatoes will be finishing up over the next couple weeks. And in the place of these, I will put my fall broccoli. As we get into September, I will cover the broccoli with poly low tunnel so that they'll be able to survive any frost that comes in October. This is my first succession of broccoli that's going to go in the potato bed. I'll start another succession this week, and then a third succession in about 3 weeks. Because I'm going to grow in a poly low tunnel, once we hit like mid-September, I'll have enough time with the season extension to get a harvest from all 3 successions. Unless we get like a really bad, deep cold in, like, say, November. I hope this gave you some ideas for things that you can still plant at this time of year as we head into fall. And even though I'm not growing these things, there are still other things that you can still plant. Cabbage would be one, cilantro, spinach. Those are all great choices for growing in the fall. But depending on when your first frost date is, if it's mid to late November, you might be able to get in another round of sweet corn or summer squash. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed and got some ideas from this, and we'll see you on the next one.